Hello, namaste, and welcome to Tech Storytelling with Madan, where the stories comes to life. I'm your host Madan, and in today's episode, we'll explore how explainable AI XI will turn the opaque black box into a transparent and a clear glass box. Joining me today, Suresh Done. Suresh is the Chief AI Officer with AI Authority, and he is the CIO of SNA Technology. He is actually helping also the Fortune 500 company into with respect to their AI strategy, architectural innovation, and overall digital transformation. So let's welcome Suresh. Welcome to the
Hi,
podcast.
hey everyone.
So a quick intro about yourself, and then we'll deep dive into our core topic.
Okay, sure. Yeah, as you know, my name is Suresh Done. I'm from India, of course, from Andhra Pradesh. I did my graduation in Andhra Pradesh itself, and then did my master's in REC, or nowadays it's called NIT Allahabad, and then I worked as a scientist in one of the research organizations called SCRC, Structural Engineering Research Center. It's one of the CSIR laboratory, and um, and then after that I moved to US, and then in US I've been a consultant most of the time, consulting various industries including telecom, healthcare. Automotive is my big sector because I moved to Michigan in 2001. Since then I think mostly worked with the automotive companies, GM, Chrysler, Ford, etc. And then I established SNA Technologies in 2006 with the vision of providing enterprise architecture services. Since then, I've been working with the clients across the globe, providing enterprise architecture services. And lately, with the AI, coming into the fore, but what I'd seen is from my enterprise architecture lens, so I believe we went backwards a little bit from an EA perspective, from an enterprise architecture perspective, because what we had seen earlier was, before 2000s and till mid 2000s, there was no enterprise architecture in most of the organizations, right? And so after my, they established my with the SNA Technologies. I've worked with several enterprise architects across the globe, and I've been talking to many of them. So the maturity level was very less when I started in mid 2000s, and then after 15 years or so, I'd seen the maturity level has gone up, from an enterprise architecture perspective. I was feeling very happy about that. But with the AI coming into the fore, I see that the enterprise architecture has gone for a toss. There was no enterprise architecture, there was no governance, and people got it into that mode of let's build this one, let's build that one, right? So that's all going on right now. So we want to bring back the enterprise architecture perspective into AI as well. So that's one of the reason we formed this AI Authority. So it's an international consortium, and SNA Technologies is one of the member, and I'm kind of leading that initiative as a chief AI officer as well. So that's what we want to bring: the best practices, standards in AI, and making sure that we are building trustworthy, reliable, responsible AI solutions rather than haphazard AI solutions, right? So that's the intent of this AI Authority.
All right, great. So great to know about your background, your overall vision, mission, and really happy to see how you are passionate about enterprise architect community, and again you are on the same mission to bring the same spirit to those people. All right.
Right.
So Suresh, actually I have structured my whole episode into two parts. Yeah, one
Okay.
part where we would be talking about and where you are passionate, your SNA technology, about career, career transformation, upskilling, and reskilling. And then we'll get into trustworthy and transparent AI. Hope this is okay, right?
Yeah, sure.
All
Hmm.
right. So I know historically you have been delivering and inculcating the overall, enterprise architect and overall, the training to a larger part in US, maybe in India as well. So where is my question? If you look at here, the agentic AI, the market is poised to become a multi-trillion dollar by 2030. So huge floodgate opening opportunity. But the bitter truth, what the layups happening across the industry, it has become the norm, right? It's a bitter truth. So
Hmm.
where I wanted to know your insight is, and this is primarily from the professional perspective, not from the organizational readiness perspective, what's holding back the individuals to keep pace with the technology where the industry is going? Basically, it's a resource problem, it's a gap problem, or they are not able to figure it out how to move forward in the era of fast evolving technology.
All right. There are multiple things I would say. First and foremost is the skills, of course, right? Because whenever a new technology comes, right, so there will be a gap in the skills, right? I think, so if I look at the industry now, the technical skills probably can be achieved very quickly. Very quickly means it may take some time, but that's the easiest thing that I. So from my understanding of this, 25, 30 years of experience in the industry. So even though people rumble about that technical skills too much, that skill can be filled in pretty easily, pretty fast than the business skills, right? So that's what I've been seeing in my experience in the enterprise architecture as well, right? So in the IT, people were able to pick up the technical skills too quickly, but when it comes to business skills, I don't know. It's a maybe the mindset or whatever it is. People are little slow to pick up the business skills, right? But that's what is needed more, even in AI as well, right? Unless you have the business alignment, the solutions that we develop will not, will not give any value to the organizations. So that's where I see the gap. Even today, I see the gap in the business skills rather than technical skills. Yes, of course, I don't deny that the technical skills gap is there, but it can be filled in, maybe in a year or two, or maybe at the max 5 years. But the business skills takes more longer time to for people to imbibe those skills and and more often implement them, right? So adopt those skills in their organizations. So that's where I see that the gap is. So that's what we are trying to do is with the AI Authority or SNA Technologies is we want to bring skills from a business perspective, right? So that's why we came up with frameworks like AI strategy framework, AI governance framework, and enterprise AI architecture framework, and then AI solution architecture framework. So all these frameworks that we are built to bridge that gap, right, between the business and the technical side of
Okay.
the thing. Yeah.
Okay, this is great. So this is interesting. I mean, you are saying we can acquire the technical skills very quickly, but that's not the complete. So you are advocating for the T-shape skill set, right? Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. But let's
Right.
little bit touch upon. I mean, I know in the industry it's not difficult, it's not easy. But I mean, let's little bit talk about the enterprise architect and the developers. Yeah. So
Mhm.
if I look at the industry, the architect role is rapidly shifting from building a static system to orchestrating the intelligent ecosystem, right? So, how do you prepare your existing architects and the developers to transition from writing the deterministic code to design a dynamic AI governance? How are you, which framework, how you are shifting actually? That's my question, and wanted to know your insight.
Okay, so going back to the previous conversation, So when I started my journey as an enterprise architect, I was a technical person myself. So I was doing some, development of some, actually I was using multiple technologies back then, J2E and all these, middleware technologies and all. But I quickly realized that, the business skills is what you need. And I tried to acquire the business skills. And then with that, I became an enterprise architect where I tried to align the what we need, the IT systems, to the business goals and objectives, right? So I found that fascinating and more useful for the organizations, right? So to have an enterprise architecture. So same thing with the AI also. We need a framework that could align your business to your AI solutions, right? So first of all, you need to understand your business goals, objectives, right? And what is the value proposition of these AI solutions, and then map them to your systems, right? To the what kind of AI systems we need, and what kind of data, which is the biggest piece of the AI, right? And then what data we need and the technology infrastructure that you need. And overall, the governance of how this whole thing happens, right? Having checks and balances at each juncture of your AI development is essential. So unless we have this whole framework, right, we won't be successful. And that's why the enterprise AI architecture framework that we came up with will help you to do that. And when you look at the industry, there are many frameworks that are coming up. One is the famous ISO 42001, and then we have NIST for US, NIST AI RMF, and then EU has their own AI Act. So these are several frameworks that are coming, that are helping the organizations to establish the right controls and right objectives and controls to make sure that your AI is successful. So yeah, so these are the things I would say that helps the organizations to build a better AI.
All right, this is great. I have a quick clarification to make sure I understood correctly, and my audience should also get the right clarity. When you
Mhm.
say technical skills and the business skills, I assume business skills essentially mean that people need to learn the domain knowledge. I think either I misunderstood, or maybe you are referring to the business, maybe the business case, business value, and overall alignment with the business objective. Can you just help us to clarify what does this mean by
Okay.
business knowledge?
Now there are two things, right? In from when I say business skills, I'm looking at two things. One is the domain expertise, as you said. Like if you are an insurance company, having a domain knowledge is always helps, right?
Mhm.
So that is essential. But from my perspective, more than domain knowledge, yes, you need domain knowledge, but more than domain knowledge, the holistic understanding of the organization is what I see is more important, right? So because when I see anyone, any employee, so if I go to an insurance company or a manufacturing company, so one person is specialized in one thing,
Yeah.
right? So either they are application development expert, or infrastructure expert, or they may be even in the business skills also, they may be knowing a very small piece of the whole insurance business, or
Okay.
small piece of manufacturing business. They may not be knowing the whole,
Got
the
it.
whole organization, or the holistic perspective of the whole business itself, right? So that is what is needed to be an enterprise architect, and
Understood.
to make sure that we are building the right solutions that give value to the organization. So we need that holistic understanding of the organization rather than bits and pieces of the organization.
Yeah. Yeah. This is clear. Thanks for clarification. I'm moving to the second section of our overall the topic explainable AI, and where my first curiosity is about the explainable AI, and overall you talked about the compliance, the legal justification. So where I wanted to know your view is when an autonomous agent makes a consequential decision, for example approving a loan or maybe flagging a security threat. So C-suite liability is absolute. So what the concrete XI technical standard must be made from architectural perspective to legally justify and defend the agent's autonomous decision path to an auditor.
Right. Now, AI, it was there for many years, I would
Yeah,
say, right?
that's correct.
Even I worked on AI in 90s. You won't believe it. So back then, AI was very, in a rudimentary state. But now everyone is developing AI, right? But so how the AI is taking decisions is still a myth, right? So for many who doesn't understand the nitty-gritties of the AI, so it's a myth. So it's a black box, right? So we
Yeah.
don't know what is happening inside that black box. So you give some inputs, you get some outputs. That's all we know, right? But lately what we realize that what if the AI takes a bad decision, right? Now, who is accountable for it?
Mhm.
Is it the human or is it the AI system, right? So there was a question. Now, to eliminate the mistake that the system is making, at least, so what we thought was, okay, let's see what happens inside that black box, right? So let's see, how the AI is making decisions, right? So that's when we got this explainable AI or XAI in short. So what the XAI does is it gives you a picture of how the decision making process, right? How the
Mhm.
AI system is taking the decisions, so that we know when we got a decision from this AI system, how it has taken the decision, right? So so if the decision is bad, now where does that thing go wrong, right? So how that AI has gone wrong? Is it the data or is it the decision making process? Where is has it gone wrong? So to know that, we have developed some frameworks and tools which can give you the traceability, right? So how the decision is made, right? So what has gone wrong, right? So what made that decision happen, right? So if we know that, at least we know what went wrong, and then we can make our system much more reliable rather than guessing in the dark, right? So that's what this explainable AI is. So there are many methodologies like sharp is one, shapely additive explanations, and then lime, like local interpretable model agnostic explanations, and then counterfactuals. So there are several methodologies which came out, which can give you that traceability of how the AI system is taking decisions.
All right. This is great to know about Lime and SAP, how this has been integrated to create audit report, etc. I'm just moving forward, and then maybe I have a question with respect to hallucination and drift. Yeah. So,
Mm.
and today, hallucination and cascading effect is pretty much discussion on the table. So,
Mm.
right? I mean, hallucination or maybe drift in production can happen. So, where is the curiosity and where I wanted to know, how do you architect the real time XI guardrails into your agentic framework to prevent the self-propagating errors or ensure the continuous regulatory alignment? So primarily, this is also from compliance, from regulatory and auditor perspective. How can you architect and mandate basically all these guardrails to avoid the hallucination and drift into production?
Right. So as I mentioned, right, so if a decision has gone wrong, we can trace back and check where it has gone wrong, right? But this is post implementation, right?
Mhm.
So what I just mentioned was post implementation. That's only one side of the equation, right? But to remove those hallucinations and to remove those drifts, there should be the controls at three levels, right? So one is pre-implementation. So before implementation itself, we need to understand how the AI is taking decisions, and what are the how the AI system itself is built, right? So before we implement, we should know, understand how the decisions are made, and during the implementation, right, or when the AI system is running, now we should have some systems which can track, right, so how the decisions are made, and if the model is drifted, right, so that you can change dynamically, and then make sure that the AI system works within the boundaries of the decision making, right? So that's the second level, and the third level is the post implementation, right? After implementation, if still the AI system is taking some wrong decisions, we can correct them, and then we can trace back and we can correct them, and then make sure that the AI is foolproof. So having these three levels of what do you say, the controls, or so we can not only make sure that the business is running properly, but from a regulatory perspective, right? So if a regulatory body comes and says, hey, your AI system has taken this decision, how you had taken the decision, or give me the proof. So then you have the trace, right, to give to the regulatory bodies, hey, this is how our AI system works, and this is how the AI system has taken the decision, so that we are compliant from a regulatory perspective as well.
All right, this is great. My next question, with respect to the 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 ROI, ROI and the overall the explainable AI infrastructure, right? So I know you have worked with CFOs, CXO, and I just wanted to know your view how to secure the budget and fund for this infrastructure. So investment in actually the core XI infrastructure like tracing, guardrails, it's critical, but it's non-revenue generating. Yeah. So as being the financial leader, how do you quantify the long-term ROI of this governance layer by justifying the cost of risk avoidance? So
Right.
can you help us some insights?
Yeah.
Because it's not
Sure.
easy setting up the infrastructure, right?
Yeah. So this problem we had faced even with the regular EA enterprise architecture as well, because when we started this enterprise architecture practice, even at SNA Technologies, even in the industry, when we talk to many CIOs or C-level, including the CFOs, right? So the main concern back then, 20 years back, was the same as now, right? How do we justify the investment on this enterprise architecture, now enterprise AI architecture, right? In both the cases, there is always a pushback from the developers, even from the business as well, thinking that it's a overhead, right? It's an overhead. They're not willing to invest anything on this enterprise architecture or enterprise AI architecture. Why? Because they don't see any value in a short run, right? So which I agree, right? So these are things that you could see. So when you develop some system, either IT system or an AI system, you could see that, right? So it is doing something, you are able to automate something, or it's built for some purpose, and you can see that is happening, and you can see the return on investment. But whereas enterprise architecture, or this AI architecture, now we don't see the value right away, because these are the guardrails, or these are the norms, standards, regulations, best practices that you are putting in place to prevent any bad happening, right? So you're more preventing the bad, rather than contributing to those things, right? So now, how do we justify this investment, right? So the one way to look at is, now what if we are not compliant with any regulations? Are there any implications, right? Are there any fines, or whatever? So how much you are going to incur, right, if that happens? Or if you had taken a bad decision, if an AI system has taken a bad decision, what are the ramifications, right? Financially, right? So you can measure all these things, right? And even reputation also can be measured, right? So you can measure all these things and come up with a number. Hey, if we don't do these things, which means we are going to incur this much when that happens, right? And then now look at how much you are spending on establishing this practice, right? So to employ the enterprise architects for AI, right? Enterprise AI architects or whoever it is, right? Who is involved in this establishing these the standards and best practices and all, right? So how much you are incurring, right? To establish and to follow those things. So maybe X, and then so when you subtract these two, you get how much you are going to save. This is usually a large number when compared to how much you are going to incur in your losses. The amount that you are spending on establishing this practice is peanuts, right? So it's nothing when compared to those. So the business or the CFO can readily see what is the benefit of establishing this practice within the organization.
Yeah, this is great. I think one of the scientific way of actually convincing the CFO I learned on this podcast, it's
Right.
all numerical and scientific way of calculating. So thank you very much for this. Last but not the least, one question
Mhm.
again with respect to the career. We have
Mhm.
touched upon the persona of architect, developers, maybe some level of project managers, but we
Mhm.
haven't touched upon the persona of non-technical people who are basically the functional people who are expert into
Mhm.
the domain but they never code. So in
Right.
fast evolving technology where now everything is natural way of interacting with computer, now technology
Mhm.
piece is taken care, right? So from your
Mhm.
perspective, how do you see their role is evolving, and what they should be doing, what kind of skill they should be actually acquiring in order to be surviving and thriving into this world?
Good question. So, the non-technical people always fascinate about the technology. The technology people will always wonder, what these domain people are doing. So, I think nowadays, it's a cross-functional, right? It's not, if you are a domain expert, yes, you're good, but knowing the technical nuances will help you in your career, right? In your day-to-day job, right? So just like a developer having a domain knowledge always have an edge, right? So for non-technical people, what I would say is know at least a very thin layer of the technology for in this matter like AI, right? So that at least if you know the jargon, right? So then you can understand what the technical people are doing, and when a technical people explains, you are in a better position to understand, right? So of course your domain knowledge is a must, but having a little bit of technical
Hmm.
knowledge will help you, will go in a long way for them in their career. So that's what I would say. Have at least a brief learning of the AI, so that you understand what is happening in the technical side as well.
A follow-up question. I mean, nowadays the AI governance is evolving. So the autonomous nature of agentic, it's
Mhm.
evolving and going very fast, planning, reasoning, and etc. So do you think
Mhm.
even the business people or maybe technology, I mean business people or maybe the project managers, business analysts, they also need to understand the governance, the risk, compliance, and etc. into this fast evolving world?
Of course, that
Okay.
is a must. That is a
Oh, that is
given.
a must.
Yeah, for them it is even important, right?
Okay.
Because unless they understand, what this governance is about, and what all these things, so they cannot do a good job, right? So yes, it is a must for them to
Must for them.
understand the risk management and the all these things. So AI governance. So so in AI, so when you talk about AI governance, there are two parties, right? One party who is doing the governance, and the other party who is coming for developing some systems,
Mm.
and who has to make sure that the system is built in a proper way, right? So there are two parties. So if both the parties understand the nuances, right? So both from a technical and from a business perspective, then things move faster, right? So if the people who are doing governance, of course they will be the experts, but if on the other side, if the developers, the project managers, and who is involved in developing the systems are not aware of the compliance or the risks, or other the standards and other aspects, they cannot build systems much faster. And even if they build, there may be some things they have to fix once it goes to review. But if they are knowledgeable, if they are aware of all these aspects, then the development goes smooth, and then we can make progress in a much faster way. So I think both the parties should be knowledgeable, and at least to know such to certain extent, so that we are doing a better job in developing these AI systems.
All right, this is great. I think this is all. This is all. Thank you very much, Suresh, for your time. So, ladies and
Mhm.
gentlemen, we were talking to Suresh. The conversation was really, really insightful, interesting, and hopefully, this will bring a lot of value to the community. Suresh is available on the LinkedIn. Uh, you can approach him, depends on his convenience. He will ping you, he will help you, guide you. But Suresh, we conclude this program, this episode. I think I have noticed you are doing a lot of transformation for the organization. At the same time, your entity AI authority is also involved into the people's transformation into AI strategy and etc. So last couple of minutes, can you help us to understand what kind of program you are delivering and how this will help individuals to upskill and reskill into AI strategy space?
All right. So thanks for asking it. So the AI Authority is an organization, as I said, it's an international consortium to promote best practices in AI. But having said that, our main goal is to bring the end users, AI end users who need some AI systems, and the organizations who are developing the AI solutions, right? So now, how do we bring these two together, right? So how do we make sure that the AI solution, whoever is developing the AI solutions, are building the AI systems according to the standards and best practices, and making sure that the end users are getting a reliable, trustworthy, responsible AI system, is what the AI Authority is about, right? So everyone has a skin in the game, I would say, because everyone. So some needs AI systems, some are developing the AI systems, and some people, like yourself and myself, who are AI experts, need to help these two parties, right? Who needs the systems,
Yeah,
who are developing the systems, need to help these two parties, so that both are benefited, right? And above all, we need to increase the knowledge, right, in the AI space as well. So as I said before, the technical knowledge is there, right? So how to develop, what kind of algorithms we need, the machine learning algorithms, right? Genetic AI or agentic AI. The technical skills are there, but what we are trying to bring with the AI Authority is, how do we build the business skills, right? The business
yeah.
skills are the architectural skills, right? Which can help to build the systems in a better way, right? So, so we are in that space, right? Building, enhancing the enterprise AI architecture skills, solution AI architecture skills, right? Security, AI security, AI ops, AI computing. So all these things that are needed to build, AI, better AI systems. So that is what we are into. So bringing all the parties together to make sure that we are building the right AI, responsible AI within the industry, right? So that's AI Authority is about.
All right, this is great. So thanks a lot, Suresh, for your time and wish you all the best for your new endeavors.